Well, I want to welcome today you to our show. We have one of our local stars, retail business owner, Fieldmore, Nina Joyner, who is, for the last 11 years, held up the neighborhood and done a lot to help the uptown neighborhood thrive and grow. And I'm going to welcome my co-host, Charles Johnson. Chuck, how you holding?
Hey, man, it's always a pleasure, man.
Well,
how you doing, Miss Fieldmore?
I'm good.
All right, man.
Well,
Glad you're able to come through.
Well, with everything going on, it's been a little hectic in Oakland, and
Nah, it's been hella fucking hectic.
okay. That being said, give us the street view. Tell us a little bit more about what you experienced here at part of Oakland, and what your journey's been in the last 11 years.
Oh my goodness. I'm a downtown person. I moved to the Bay Area in '94, and from Las Vegas, and I ended up going to Merritt College and the whole Peralta College. You know how that goes.
MIT, Merritt Institute of Technology.
You get. I played basketball for Merritt. Got a scholarship to a school in Florida A&M. And just being on those buses, man, AC Transit takes you places. Like it was. When I first got here, I jumped on the 40 and went down International and just saw, El Pollo Loco. I was like, where the fuck am I? Where the hell am I? You know what I mean? You seeing the streetwalkers and everything. I mean, Oakland is gritty. I came here. I wanted to come in here as a kid. I was like, some kids are like, I want to be a doctor. I said I wanted to come to Oakland, and it was because of the music. It was because of E40, Richie Rich, Too Short, guys like that who, even Concha's Daughters, who ended up being my, Carol from Concha's Daughters, rest her soul.
A special one, and Carol's still alive, a special one, right?
No, Carol is
special.
So being my roommate, years later, like talking to these people, but just the influence of music that has actually, exceeded, the city limits and pushed Oakland out there in ways that other people weren't able to. Black Panthers was one of them. But, when I got here, just seeing how historical it was, the Black Panthers were, that group for my family as they were protesting in Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Those people protesting, and what did a young protest look like? I knew what the Martin Luther Kings looked like, but what did it look like for the Malcolm X and the Malcolm X generation? And I think Oakland, you were able to go back to books, go back to the music, and really kind of map out what Oakland looked like in reference to the music. And it was just a good blueprint when I first got here. I drove my car from Vegas, and I was my car died on the 580, the 580, what was it, 580 Motel? Yep. Right there off of 580 at the 580 Motel. My car stayed there, and that was it. I was on the bus. AC Transit has given me an understanding of the city and its climates and its culture that have stayed with me and kept me safe. If it didn't have a bus, you shouldn't be there. I didn't want to live there without a bus.
Man, that's a dope backstory.
Yeah. But coming downtown, I've been downtown. I've worked at Clorox for quite some time, just downtown Oakland, 14th and Broadway, and read about this company, saw this company, loved the marketing of the company, and across the street was Oakland Pick. So when I got out of college, I couldn't find a job, and I was looking for a job, and I would go over there and look for a job, and I started paying attention to people who had work badges on.
Private Industry Council, Gay Cobb.
Yeah, Gay Cobb. Private
helped
industry.
A lot of folks find their way to employment.
Absolutely. Yeah, do you know Gay Cobb?
Yeah, Gay Cobb and Paul Cobb.
Yep, absolutely.
Actually, back in the day, I actually did a video for Pick one time. So I'm very, very remember them well. They did help.
Yeah.
They did help.
Yeah. So I would go over there. My uncle lived in Berkeley, so I would come from Berkeley to Oakland. I never really wanted to stay in Berkeley, but so coming over to Oakland, it was basically for me to go to Pick, find a job, come out. I was like, I need a job. And so I'm looking at people's badges, and this one person had Clorox on his badge, and I walked up to him. I was like, hey, check this out. I was like, I need a job. I was like, I don't know how you can help me, but I said, I just need some help. So he goes back upstairs, and he prints out all of the jobs that are available at Clorox. And I looked at it. I just looked over it, and at that point, I'm sure it was more confidence than anything. I was like, I can't apply for none of this stuff, And so it's like, I said, okay, well, let's just keep in touch. And we kept in touch. Years later,
I was going to say, how long were you the CEO of Clorox?
Man, good initiative, though. Look what initiative gets you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so years later, I was still doing my tech work, and I got a call saying, hey, we got this job in Oakland. Not many companies in Oakland. So you're like, okay, tell me more. And they're saying, we got to tell you who it is because we're going to help you with the test to make sure you test well in it. And I was like, what company is it? They were like, Clorox. So I put down that phone, picked up my other phone, called the guy, and was like, put my resume in. And I got the interview, and I got the job. I stayed there maybe 12 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm familiar with these streets, and I know we're dealing with COVID right now, but at a point in time in downtown Oakland, no one was here. No businesses were here. Van Cleef's was here. The hot dog, the insurance on the corner down there was there, but no one was here. Clorox used to have vans that would take us to West Oakland because many of the people would park over there. So we would get rides back and forth because it was too sketchy downtown. And once that stopped, the economy changed for the better, quote unquote, for the better, and now it's changing again. Yeah.
All right. So how's it changing for you? And before you answer that, tell us a little bit more about Fillmore, your store.
Well, while working in technology, you're always going to hear about porn. Porn was technology, naked technology, in the sense that if you were to talk about CES, I'm from Las Vegas, you were talking about the porn convention, so
Consumer electric.
Yeah, Consumer Electronic Show. Electronic show. So you were talking about the technology of it, and taking my skills and combining that with porn, and creating porn, because part of my part-time job with my family was actually film and television, and I just picked it up just by rite of passage, and started shooting porn. And also had, connections into the internet, so I knew how to get things. And so I woke up one morning and bought probably 100 DVDs and sex toys, and then I started putting them back in my car and rolling around Oakland, selling them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that business, because I'm sure it was fledgling.
Yeah, no, I didn't sell anything. I didn't sell a damn thing. Maybe a couple things, but I don't think, when you're selling anything, you're not working on, you have to have a lot of sales, like in porn. If somebody says they want to get in porn, I'm like, that's a lot of head you got to suck, you know what I mean, to make $1 million. Just think about it, like break it down. If that's $100 a person, or 500 or 10,000, how many people do you have to get off to make $1 million? That's a lot of money. And so for me, it wasn't about what I was going to make. And at that time, I didn't understand it. I was thinking I was going to make some money, but I was making great money in tech. I was a network engineer, information security. That was first. That was big. That was 6 figures off bat. And it was, for me, as I look back, it was basically, did I really want to do this? Because not a lot of people can live in a sex industry out front. And also to be amongst people like yourself, notable people, like how can you carry that, and
Sorry, your customers?
No, I'm just saying community, just community.
Right, just community as a whole.
So, but in all seriousness, for 11 years, you've had this retail storefront. And I remember when you were going through your process to get your store open, conditional use permit, you had a lot of people there talking against you. Some of us spoke in support of you being there. And people would say to me, Phil Tagami, you've been spending this time in the neighborhood. Why do you want this store here? And I said, because we want to bring everyone to downtown Oakland. And we have to have a full array of services to make it a complete downtown.
Right.
And so even I just wanted to say to that point, how is it in terms of just the business? Because it would kind of seem to me, because all my guys remember certain females in the industry, that it always would be fledgling.
Right.
Is it a business that really is working or not really?
I think any industry, when you call it an industry, it works. You know what I mean? Like there is money to be made in everything. And for me, I didn't want to move to Porn Valley. You know, I didn't want to move to Porn Valley to either shoot porn. I'm good at that. Won a couple awards, and I got my handles on editing and camera work and everything. But I didn't want to move from home, what I felt was my calling as a kid. You know what I'm saying? To move from here to go there, it's like how can you move the universe to you? You know, that kind of way.
So how much of the business would you say is the retail side, and how much is the film side?
You know, if you were to go to CES, you had two big conventions. You had one was porn, one was retail. So when I went to these conventions, never went as a kid in Vegas. You know, I say kid, you know, quote unquote, but never went during that time. But when I started going, I looked at all brown people, Black, Latino, Asian, all on the porn side, owning the companies. But then I went over to the retail side. It was all white, a couple blacks. I said, this is the side I want to be on because it was more import and export. So I could actually have longevity there. You know, if I had to deal with, you know, the drugs, the alcohol, people coming in, coming out of porn, the stability of it wasn't there enough for me to justify me making a career move
Right.
from technology, which was great, stable, you know, up and rising, to, you know, to porn.
So in the Fillmore location on Telegraph Avenue, that's primarily retail shop.
Yeah.
So with COVID, and clearly people are being encouraged to look after themselves, has your business gone up during this time, or how have you been affected by the COVID?
Do I want to answer that? When is this airing?
You want it to air.
Yeah, in a sense, it is. It is. It's actually put me at the level I think I should be at. Honestly, I don't think I should have anything less. I think we built a great business, and as I was telling you, you know, like, we deal in privacy. We give away products for
Right.
free. It's privacy. Like, you're not hearing, because I'm so connected into the community. Our people are coming from the community. It's important that we monitor what we say. We guard your information, because you don't know who's coming in and out. I've had some people, I'm like, I really want to shout this out on Facebook, like, man, but I can't say anything because we didn't negotiate that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even put that out there.
You got some national news recently. I mean, it was Kamala Harris, when she announced that she was running for president.
Yeah.
You were in the mix with that.
Yeah. I mean, and I was just standing up as a business owner. I think you have to be in the mix with politics.
And now presidential candidate Joe Biden.
Yeah. He was down at Buttercup Kitchen. You guys, if you ever come to Oakland, go to Buttercup Kitchen. And I came out. I just jumped out the car or whatever and went in the spot. And then Mayor Schaaf was standing there, and then she was like, "This is one of our brightest stars. She sells sex toys." He said, "Oh yeah."
Timing.
He was like, "I gotta come." You know what I mean? So you know.
Bump.
Yeah.
Did you just write that joke?
No, I did not. I did not.
That's some town
She's a
shit,
good
though.
setup person. Like she knows. Yeah,
That's some
she's a
town
good
shit.
setup person. But telling that story in jest, not to get anywhere. Someone wrote about that story, so you have to be very mindful of who you talk to in the media. Yeah. So. Yeah.
That's what's
So
up.
what do you see for the future of this area?
It's very hard. I mean, for all of the books that I go and read at the Planning Commission, previous administrations and what they would do around retail and just the downtown Jack London corridor, this was a huge hiccup. This was a huge hiccup, and I know you're the real estate person. You can kind of tell us more about that. But you know, for a small business to stay, you got to have a stable rent to be able to grow. You know, for me, I got a great rent. I negotiated a good rent.
And you have a good landlord.
Good. He passed away recently.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fred passed away.
Yeah,
So
he
sorry to
passed
hear
away.
that. So Fred Brown
Yeah.
owned Roseal's Shoes for got to be close to 50 years.
Gotta be.
Oakland history.
And finally closed up his shoe store and then was landlord there. How long ago did he pass?
Just last week.
Oh, man.
Oh man.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So that's real big.
So it could change, you know, it could change, but I know as a small business, you want to have a stable rent, but you also want to have a stable rent, and you also want to have consistent customers coming in. With technology, which it should have really been in 2000 in Y2K, it should have been a lot more people working from home than what the current market actually look like. Now it's like work from home. Now your technology goes faster to meet the demands and the needs, and it's going to work out. It says, do you deliver to San Francisco with Postmates? I
So this
deliver
is
everywhere.
perfect
I
timing?
deliver wherever the money
So
take
you're on
me.
Postmates?
Oh yeah, I mean, we did it. See, they kicked us off, Postmate. I want to be back on there, but we have an API. I got an API built for the back end, so I'm still able to do that. But we can't get there because there's a 10-mile radius. I take it myself, so I'm charging $75 to $100, and people are wanting it. So the other night was to double it, but you're going to pay me.
Right.
You're going to have to pay me.
Right.
I'm not saying because of the time. I'm saying because of my time.
Very good.
Yeah, for my time. But
So the service is there
yeah,
at Fillmore.
yeah, the service is there. So you want to make sure that we can have stable rents. One of the things in downtown Oakland, a lot of the buildings that have been built, the footprints are too big for mom and pops.
Sure.
So now you need a big restaurant, you need a huge bar, you need a bigger type business, larger footprint business, which isn't there. People are going to be scared of that particular fact. And also, I think to give the variety, we're going to either have to deal with the fact that we need, more segmentation in the building development, and or also we're going to have to start building up the communities where people were escaping. They go from like the Laurel District to San Francisco to work and then back home on the weekends, when you're really not really fully realizing the income and the retail potential of that area because your customer commutes and they don't come home.
The word we like to
Exactly.
use was capture.
Capture?
How do we capture those eyeballs and those credit cards and those transactions from the people who are resident here? And then how do we import them? How do we bring people to want downtown Oakland as a destination to walk the street and be customers?
Right.
And what are they accustomed to doing and what is customary?
Watch this. We don't have a hour for this one, but would you like to tell her one of your bright ideas you've been telling me for the last few years?
Please.
It's a certain kind of business you think we should have, a middle tier, a high tier, and a low tier?
Well, so this is born out of a conversation I actually had with Council President Rebecca Kaplan,
Okay.
who basically said, Oakland needs various things. How come there is not a strip club in Oakland?
I've been wanting to do
And,
it.
and so I said, well, there's probably no prohibition against it, meaning that, there's a foundation within the, in essence, the city's planning code that would allow it to occur, but you can't have one. And she says, I don't understand. And I said, well, I'm sure you do, but you really need to have three. And she says, three. I said, yes, you need a high-end one for everyone that's coming and doing business. Two, and that helps your convention business. Number two, you need to have one that's for the middle-class folks. And then three, you need to have one that's really for working-class folks and they're really kind of, very affordable.
Well,
And you
truth
need
be
to-
told, they already exist. You
Okay.
just don't licensed.
So you're teaching us something we don't
They
know
just
about.
not licensed.
So you
the
got to
question
know.
was
You
those
just got to
three.
be in the know.
So there was a conversation that took place in the early 90s, and it was then Mayor Willie Brown, who referred to San Francisco of having the 13th month. And it was like the 13th month, and he says, well, yeah, the revenue generated from the strip clubs and the massage parlors in San Francisco and then attract the conventions into San Francisco are equal to the 13th month of revenue. And at the time, people were considering, should Oakland have a convention center and try to drive more convention business? And if you're going to do that, everyone says, well, you need to have multiple strip clubs as a part of that and those services that conventioneers are looking for. And then, of course, there were a lot of people in the religious community who said, well, that's not a very good thing. So, and then, the mayor at the time was Jerry Brown, who was like, this isn't a good idea. So let's focus on some other things that we can do to accomplish the mission of economic development. And so it's interesting. So that, the flavor of what it is. So, back to, respectful of the time too, the future of the neighborhood, what do you think the challenges of the neighborhood are? And if you had a solution, if there were three things you could change with our neighborhood, what would you do?
Three things I would change. I definitely would. I would actually utilize the one-way streets that we have to create festivals and fairs on a weekend basis. I think 17th Street, because 17th Street, when I first got there, we had a lot of accidents. So I kept calling, and we finally got a street sign like "Don't turn." But that street was actually 17th goes down towards the lake. I don't know what direction that is, but then east, and it actually was originally set to go west, and it's natural for a person to go west on that. So I had actually wanted to do a festival in there. I think festivals downtown on the one-way streets, I think you have to include smaller retail footprints as a part of the developments. They can't just be big boxes. We're not
Gotcha.
looking for big boxes. We're looking for small, mid, and high-tier businesses so that you have a diversity of income levels that are coming in to shop, and also a diversity of income levels that can own and operate. Because small business owners like Prospect Park, Korean, his Sonny and his wife, they are, Korean immigrants, and what's the likelihood that they're going to go for a big box? They're not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've been tapped in, but to like art commissions or like their task forces, or if you haven't, I definitely want to get you in them because you got the right mind for it.
Yeah, art is great down here, but we also.
So what's the third last thing you?
I think, the third last thing, thank you so much. The third last thing is I think we need to have more food trucks that are parked around.
Okay.
I think the food trucks are going to bring people because we don't have businesses. I'm open. As long as legs are open, I'm open. And we don't have businesses that are sticking and staying. They're going for their sweet spot, and that's it. But we can build beyond the sweet spot in that we need to make sure somebody's open at least 10 to 11 hours. And the food trucks give you that augmentation. So if this business closes at 5, now the food truck can come in and supplement that and keep the traffic down here. Because as I'm downtown Oakland at 11 o'clock at night and looking left and right, there are no businesses. As far as retail, I consider myself the only one open.
So now you're going to have a neighbor that's going to be open. So we're going to keep this business open later, not just the podcast area, for other people to be able to get their message out.
Right.
But the yoga offering and the retail offering is going to be open
it's
until midnight.
important. Those hours is not just about a business there. It's about being open, because what it does is, in the early days of Fillmore, before they changed the lighting down here from sodium to LED, we've had women roll in Fillmore because they were being followed. So what we're looking for is just like a broken window complex. If you keep a broken window, more will come. You're looking for safety and security from walking from point to point. So I'm on the bus, even when I lived in Piedmont area, I'd still walk late at night. But because all of the businesses were open, I knew which streets to zig on to make sure that I was in a visible area as a female body person. So we need to have that opportunity to create that safety. If it's not safe for women, this is not a place I want to be.
Exactly.
So
Me
with
either.
safety and security, has that stabilized? Is that on the upswing, or do we still have work to do down here?
I think you still have work to do, because you see the ambassadors, if that's a safety. You see them during the day. In the night, you see the cops. And then in between there, I just don't think there's true cohesion to make sure that there's a thriving community at night unless there's a bar that's open. Because when you have a bar, you have a security, and then you'll have police because they're looking at being unruly. But what you want to really have is a consistent connection, not even security, just consistent connection where people feel like they can be heard.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you,
So-
I think your investment in this community, your presence in the neighborhood, your visibility on the street and on social media has been nothing but a positive, and it's been a pleasure to be your neighbor, and I appreciate you being on the show, and we're going to have you back. We want you in here when we have some of our other guests to keep them on point.
Right.
Right.
That's how you go.
They full of
Keep it current.
shit. All of them full of shit. I'm sure they are.
Well,
They politicians, they full of shit.
But, well, I tell you, but we're going to invite you back, and then
definitely.
we all also want to figure out as a part of our podcast how we can do a Fillmore commercial.
I got one set up already.
Well, there you go. Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And how do we find you?
I am at Fillmore Adult on all social medias, and I'll actually be on public television starting tomorrow in Berkeley on Comcast and on the internet as well with my commercials.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
All right.